It really takes a wealth of resources out there in order to build something dynamic, in order to push yourself personally and professionally, because we are our business early on in this entrepreneurship journey. So everything that we can feed and nourish ourselves with on an intellectual side, from a talent side, from a creative side, we then can invest into our businesses to make them bigger and better.
I'm Lenore Bule. I'm the founder of Bayland. We're based out of Memphis, Tennessee. Bayland is an African-inspired food company. We help people make delicious meals, eat healthier, and connect to their roots. Our mission is to bring the rich, beautiful flavors of Africa to cuisines all over the world. And we're doing that today with the spices that have no salt, no sugar, and no additives. That way people can enjoy this food and enjoy the flavor journey. Bayland started more than 30 years ago in my grandmother's kitchen. She made the most delicious foods, and that's where I actually learned how to cook and how to make seasonings. Now, when I moved to the US, I found a big gap in the rich flavors I'd grown up eating and what I saw in retail stores. And so I decided to start mixing my own flavors, and I soon found a community of people who not only enjoyed the foods and flavors I made, but also cared about giving back to their community. And so that's how Bayland was created. Creating those beautiful flavors and sharing with a community of people, but then really focused on three core things: transparency, community engagement, and exciting our customers. I think being an entrepreneur requires a lot of learning. When I came into this journey, I came in with the mindset that I know very little. I came from the corporate world and it was a whole different world to me. I think proper mentorship can bring a lot of value to Black entrepreneurs. The first one is just having someone to bounce ideas off. Being a solopreneur or being an entrepreneur who is starting off, it's a very lonely journey sometimes. An entrepreneur has to make so many decisions, and so having someone to reach out to ask those questions to, someone who can bounce ideas off, I think is extremely important for any entrepreneur, and especially for Black entrepreneurs who have not historically had, I'd say, the mentorship that most other businesses or other groups of people have had.
Entrepreneurship is hard, and it's especially hard when you're a minority. So having mentors, a team around you, a team of people who have gone through the fire, who understand the day-to-day of what it takes to build a business, to build something excellent, is essential. So having people who can give you the kick in the butt when you need it, lend advice, lend their wisdom to you to help uplift you and support you is really critical for success as an entrepreneur. My name is Sonny Williams. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Tiny Docs. We're based out of Chicago. At Tiny Docs, we're on a not-so-tiny mission to improve kids' health and make 1 billion people smile. We're doing this through an interactive web app that creates cartoons to educate kids about health in a fun and easy-to-understand language. Tiny Docs started because when I was a kid, I spent some time in hospitals. I had doctors who were really smart, kind, and well-meaning, but not the best communicators. And as a kid, I was already scared about the surgery that I faced, and that fear and anxiety was compounded by just not understanding what the doctors were saying and what laid ahead in my health journey. Believe it or not, 9 times out of 10, someone would hand me a medical brochure, which I'm not here to drag medical brochures through the mud, but they're just not the best resources for kids. Years later, I wondered why in the world, when we live in an age rich in technology, resources, and innovation, why are we resorting to something so antiquated as a medical brochure to help educate kids and families about something so fundamental as their health? That's how Tiny Docs was started. Education is fundamental at the core of what we're building at Tiny Docs. Not only is it core of the product and the storytelling and the animations that we create, but also fundamental to the people we bring on board, our collaborators, our employees. We are fortunate enough to have 2 ex-Sesame Street executives to be mentors for Tiny Docs on our advisory board. And they were really essential in helping us not only craft the stories in a really smart way, but also weave in social emotional learning that kids also need as well, to really bolster the impact that we can have, not just on the education allaying anxiety, but also those core character skills that kids need to develop as well. I think it's really important. I think those types of folks can challenge you and can push you. I think they understand when is the right time to do each as well, right? They know when is the right time to put their arm around your shoulder and let you vent when times get really tough. But they also know, hey, you need a little kick in the butt, and they challenge you and push you and move you forward, just so you can grow as an entrepreneur, but also so you can grow your business as well.
Mentorship provides an opportunity for Black entrepreneurs to learn, grow, and lead. Lays a solid foundation to have both wisdom and knowledge combined with business acumen. It's like having a coach and a cheerleader in the day-to-day life of an entrepreneur. And missing that link is truly missing the tools that you need, not just to survive as a business, but to thrive. My name is Dr. Artika Tyner, and I'm the founder of Planting People Growing Justice Press and Bookstore. We were founded in the historic African-American community of Rondo in St. Paul. Our business focuses on inspiring young people to not only read, but also lead. We are filling a void in the marketplace by ensuring that we're creating the content that celebrates Black history, Black culture, and connects the African diaspora in meaningful ways. I started my company as an answer to a challenge that I was facing. As an entrepreneur, when we see a problem, we have an obligation to create a solution. And for me, it was the correlation or connection between illiteracy and future incarceration. As a civil rights attorney, many of my clients learn how to read while in prison. And what better way to create new pipelines to success than inspiring young people to read? Education is built into the value of our brand because we know that that's the lifeline of a community. That if we can learn together, we can grow together, and we can remain strong together. So when I think about education, it's about building cultural bridges, and it's about learning history, and it's also about building history. Having mentors with a shared identity and experience means that they understand the barriers that are unique to Black entrepreneurs: undercapitalization, lack of resources, lack of encouragement, and let's just be honest, that hidden social capital and those hidden rules. Having a mentor who's gone through that pathway can help you avoid many roadblocks and impediments and set you on that pathway to the future for your organization.
I've had multiple mentorship opportunities that have really changed the trajectory of my business. When I started off, I was at the very basic, right? It was a brand new company. I found a mentor who helped me really set in place the foundations for just setting up the company and basic growth. Once we'd done that for about a year, I actually got another opportunity by being part of a program, and that helped me define the key components of setting up a business for scale and putting in place the right kind of processes within that business for us to grow. Mentors within that program were very instrumental in helping me get the business to a point where we're able to start seeing positive growth and positive returns on every investment we put in. I've taken a few methods to seek out education opportunities as a business owner. First is just online research. I've gone online and looked at what's available to small businesses, to businesses in my community, and to female-owned businesses. I've been spent a lot of time actually researching that and trying to get a lot of that education. But another thing I've done proactively is ask questions. To anyone who would listen to me, or anyone who would listen to my business idea, people who are business owners themselves, or people who are not business owners but have had some kind of interaction with growing a business, I've asked the questions: what should I be doing? What should I be looking at? What resources should I be reading? Are there any programs I should be part of? And so I found that by asking questions and by being very proactive in seeking information, I've been able to find a lot of information that's helped me grow my business.
One of the things that I learned through educating myself through books is that I'm not dreaming big enough. Our mission to improve kids' health and make 1 billion people smile seemed really grand when I first dreamt it, but now that Tiny Knox is out in the world, I'm going to have to bring on additional talent to execute.
Now, as an African American or a Black business, I'm acutely aware that having the right education and mentorship is critical to my growth. And I also know there's a lot of people like me who are looking for that education. So as part of the community engagement, a key thing we do is train other small businesses, help them answer questions, give them resources, that way they too can grow.
My commitment to mentorship has been a lifelong commitment. As an educator, it's a part of my day-to-day life. It happens both inside and outside the classroom. And when I'm thinking about mentorship, it's that sense of helping people go further, faster than the journey that I've taken. Yes, we have seen an increase in the number of books about Black people, about Black history, but we have not seen an increase in the number of Black authors. So it is my responsibility as that mentor and coach, not just to provide encouragement, but to provide the training, inspiration for their journey as well. I seek out educational opportunities on a day-to-day basis. It's that simple notion of you don't know what you don't know. I don't have a business background. I don't have an MBA. I have to keep a running glossary of all the terms of everything that everyone's talking about. B to B, B to C. Oh my goodness, don't get me into the accounting terms. So for me, learning is a part of my journey to translate my passion into actionable items. Entrepreneurs should look for an opportunity to engage with someone who has a skill set that they do not have. Because we know as an entrepreneur, yes, you have the passion around your business, but to have the business acumen, to have the knowledge and the wisdom, that may be something that you need to develop over time. And what better way than to work with a mentor to fill in some of those gaps? It's okay to say, I don't have the answer. It's okay to say, I need help. Because it seems to be within the African American community, we are a determined people, courageous people. So it means we tend to work alone. But it goes back to that African proverb, sticks in a bundle are not easily broken. So having the idea on how we can work together to build that village and to build that strong bundle, that's what I'm after. I consider networking a part of building an effective ecosystem, because we all need each other. The success of one is the success of all. But how can you do that if you don't know other people? And it's easy to get busy in your day-to-day life of your organization. But networking is something that I think about on how can I help others reach their dreams, and how can they then help me reach my dreams. I started to look more closely at what could lead to success for our publishing company, and it was distribution. It's one thing to write books. We were exceptional at that. But it's another thing to get those books into the hands of more people. So literally I was having a conversation about that as a dilemma, and out of that emerged the national distribution contract that we have today, because I started leaning in on the talents of others and asking them what led to their success.
Resources and your network is a big part of the game when it comes to entrepreneurship. You're constantly looking for introductions, who knows who could lead to new business opportunities or maybe educational opportunities or ways for you to better yourself as an entrepreneur. You're only as powerful as your network. Two of our advisory board members were a product of networking events. Shari Cole, who was a executive at Sesame Street for decades. We met her at a conference in Denver. And after speaking with her and getting to know her, we asked her to come on board and help us specifically with telling our stories and building Tiny Knots into something special. And fortunately, she said yes and joined us on this crazy ride, and I'm so grateful that she did.
I prioritize networking as an entrepreneur by determining what it is I want to learn, where I want to take my business, and who can actually help me get there. I found in my years of networking that by being very blunt and honest with people when I reach out, they have been more receptive to helping me. So one thing I always say is, it doesn't matter where we are in our journey as entrepreneurs, we've done something or gone through a hurdle or found solutions which another entrepreneur would find valuable. And so being open to share this experience with another business owner is always very helpful to that business owner, and obviously to me as an entrepreneur who's still learning from them. I'm actually a mentor right now to a spice business that started very recently. And I found that by just listening to this founder's challenges, by answering questions about things that I've done, the challenges I've been through, they've been able to put in place, I'll say, changes to their business that they're actually seeing positive returns on. So one of the key ways we sell our products at farmers markets all around Memphis. And one of the things we do is have an open table, and businesses who want to know how we get our products packaged, or businesses who want to understand how we got it into places like Kroger, can come ask us those questions. And I'm very willing to spend time with those businesses to walk through what we did, look at the ways that they've set up and the processes they have in place, and give them solutions on how to help. One thing I highly recommend entrepreneurs do is find someone who has done what they're looking to do. Another thing I think entrepreneurs should look for in mentors is someone who's willing to listen. I always think there is a challenge when someone has done something in one way and think this is the only way we can do it. Another thing I suggest is go on your Rolodex. So look at your friends and family and ask them who they know that could help you. we will be really amazed at how many people in our communities know a lot of people who can be amazing mentors to us. But if we don't ask those questions, then of course we don't get those answers.
I use sports metaphors a lot, so forgive me, but one of the people that I look to in terms of a model for mentorship is legendary Duke basketball coach, Coach K. If you looked at Coach K when he coached, oftentimes he would have his arm around that player's shoulder. So he knew when was the right time to really get after someone because they, frankly, maybe not playing to the best of their ability, and when they also needed some additional support. And I think for mentorship, it's kind of a delicate dance that you need to look for in a mentor to challenge you and also to support you. Because ultimately you want people around you who are going to make you a better person, and make you a better entrepreneur. I think it's really incumbent on entrepreneurs to first build rapport. You're kind of feeling each other out in the beginning, so really get to know the person and understand whether they might be a great fit for your business and for you. Make sure they're committed and they're invested in your success and growing your entrepreneur acumen. After kind of setting that foundation, then I think it's okay to ask, but generally I like to let things kind of happen organically. Think strategically about what you need and what you want. Oftentimes, mentorship is kind of a one-way street where the mentor is constantly giving you, resources or opportunities or giving you ideas or help with thinking through certain challenges or problems that you're facing in your business. It's actually a two-way street, and the more that you put and invest in that relationship, the more you're really going to get out of it. So I would say I would recommend overcoming anxiousness or fear about asking someone to be your mentor by first understanding that in entrepreneurship, you're going to hear a lot of no's. You're going to hear no's from customers, you're going to hear no's from potential stakeholders, you're going to hear no's from opportunities, potential partnerships. No is part of the game. You have to think about what this person might bring to your life if you engage and just get over kind of the nerves and put yourself out there.
Well, there's not a way to seek out mentorship by just putting a sign up and say, I need a mentor. This is really about building strategic relationships and partnerships. And also, let's be honest, oftentimes the greatest mentors are the busiest people. So knowing that you may need multiple mentors for different aspects of your business is vitally important. It gives me a chance to say, this person's good for marketing. This person can help. I just had a mentor who helped me get a trademark for our organization. So I had different people for different functionality. My most recent experience with Future Collective has supported me with the type of mentorship that I needed to both scale and grow. Our coach helped to provide me with the skills to say, who are our customers? To segmentate all the different pieces of who they are, what they're seeking, where to find them.
My experience with mentorship through the Fiverr Future Collective was tremendous. Our coach, Herb from 1863, really cared about what we were building. He cared about pushing us as entrepreneurs. He cared about our business's success, and he cared about us as people. He pushed me. He asked really thought-provoking questions. He brought up things that I had not thought of before, which led to some new opportunities that we might not necessarily be able to pursue at this moment, but something for us to pursue later on down the road, perhaps.
Another thing I learned was just really setting up very solid processes within an organization. I had processes in my head. I had defined a few on paper, but I had not really put a structure around having the right processes and things that could be repeatable by not just me, but anybody else who came into my shoes. One of the things which Herb helped me do was identify the risk we had, which was significant. We had one co-packer and one blender. Now he was able to connect me within his network to another co-packer and another blender who saved us significantly in just base cost. I had a lot of challenges over the last 6 months with recruiting the right people, with motivating them, with getting the right incentives or payment incentives. And by having a sounding board and someone to help me make those decisions, I found it extremely valuable. And so right now we've built in a very solid, what I call solid HR process to bring people in and motivate them and pay them right.
I just didn't get mentorship from our coach. I also got mentorship from the other fellows in the group. And I think that's really some of the power of the Fiverr Future Collective.
What I learned is where you are today is not where you'll be tomorrow if you take the proper steps today to make preparation. And I also learned that everyone has something that they can learn from each other. At first, I was a little nervous. I'm like, I'm kind of the new kid on the block, and I'm not sure if I understand all the mechanisms of business. But when we came together, we all understood different components. Case in point, we had in the Slack, someone was asking about more social media opportunities. I was like, that is a good question. How do we really do this? And they said, well, what about if we can get more user-generated content? Once again, had to go back to that little glossary from class. And I said, okay, yeah, we want more UGCs. But they gave a direct lead. And I used that lead, and I've since then, at least a dozen people I've worked with who have reviewed our books in meaningful ways. I saw the opportunity. I was like, well, Sunny's working on this animation piece. What lessons can I learn as maybe we take our books to the big screen? And I'm watching everyone. So I would say the ability to share information and knowledge without having some fear of scarcity, but really seeing each other through the lens of abundance. It was a beautiful thing.
I used to mentor at a summer camp for elementary school and middle school campers. And they would build businesses, and I would help them think about how to develop an idea and then start a business. And then they'd have a pitch competition at the end, which was really fun. So I have mentored in that capacity, but I've also mentored other early stage entrepreneurs to help them on their journey and be supportive and try to offer resources and whatever wisdom I have to share. I think about our brains as kind of rooms. You only know kind of what's in your room. And then each new person that you meet in your life, you're like kind of expanding upon rooms. So I think, especially for young Black boys and girls, sometimes the room and what they think is possible is really confined, unfortunately, due to a lot of circumstances. And I think entrepreneurship is a force for good and a force to expand what they know is possible and what can be possible. So I take a special delight in helping little Black boys and girls understand what is possible, what can be built, what your mind can do, how you can take something as small as an idea and build it into something that could be in the marketplace or could help impact other people.
Being an entrepreneur, and a Black entrepreneur in particular, I have a responsibility because I know the very foundation of our community is our ability to be liberated economically. And in order to do that, we need successful Black entrepreneurs. If we think about Dr. King, oftentimes everyone says the civil rights movement was about access to the ballot box. I would challenge that because it was that plus access to basic necessities like housing, access to food, quality education, healthcare. So when I think about my role as an entrepreneur, I have a responsibility to be that lifeline in the community. When you have a racial wealth gap between Blacks and whites that will take nearly 3 centuries to bridge, we don't have all the resources that we need in our ecosystem. So I would say it's a responsibility for some of those successful business owners to reach back and help us get to where our talent and potential would take us, less the impediment of not enough resources. But I also would say we have a responsibility within our Black ecosystem. It's a both and. If we are 1.4 billion strong across the African diaspora, let's come together. Let's use our buying power. Let's use our intellect, and let's build each other in some meaningful ways.